There are so many consistent scandals engulfing the White House, it's hard to even keep up with it. But still, what do you know? There's another scandal. Washington Post has just dropped a new scathing report on Donald Trump, and it absolutely exposes him as a national security risk. You won't want to go anywhere, trust me, because what this report reveals, it's so much worse than you can even imagine. How's it going? My name is Hunter Avalone with Occupy Democrats. Welcome back to another video. Trump is not only risking our national security, he also continues to risk the economy. In doing so, Trump continues to lose more and more support. Jim Cramer, the host of Mad Money, said back in 2024 to go with Trump if you care about your paycheck. However, now with Donald Trump's nonsense, it seems that Jim Cramer might need to eat his words.
I have to be honest here, a 20% across-the-board tariff on almost all imports, that would be horrendous for the economy. That's a 20% increase on everything we buy from overseas, and we import a huge amount of foreign goods in America. And those goods are cheap because that's the deal. There's plenty of competition from these companies, but with the exception of the auto industry and those that contribute to it, mainly steel, it doesn't matter anymore. The truth is, the jobs that are meant to be protected by tariffs were automated out of existence a long time ago.
Well, that's not pretty, but this is just another example of me telling a Trump voter, I told you so. So while Trump continues to bleed support, the Senate is currently engaged in destroying Donald Trump because Cory Booker just made headlines for breaking a record 24 hours spent on the Senate floor, completely ripping into Donald Trump.
To call to the conscience of this nation, to say, I will not stand for another American to lose their health care for a billionaire. I will not stand for another veteran who's dedicated to stopping the suicide of other veterans to lose their job. I won't stand for the air quality in my community to be made worse because they're letting polluters pollute more. I won't stand for the collective assaults on the Constitution by a man who even the highest judge in our land, a Republican-appointed judge, said stop threatening and bullying other branches of government.
I just want to tell you a question. Do you know you have just broken the record? Do you know how proud this caucus is of you? Do you know how proud America is of you?
This is absolutely monumental, and it really does help to put the Democrats back in the spotlight. So while the Democrats are in the spotlight for breaking records, the Trump administration is once again in the spotlight for breaking national security policy. That's right, the moment you've all been waiting for, the Washington Post has absolutely exposed Donald Trump for what he is, a national security threat. Take a look.
Come on the air with the breaking news about Team Trump's reckless disregard for U.S. national security. According to documents reviewed by the Washington Post, as well as interviews with 3 U.S. officials, White House National Security Advisor Mike Waltz has done it again. He and members of the National Security Council have, quote, conducted government business over personal Gmail accounts, end quote. Washington Post reporting this, quote, a senior Waltz aide used the commercial email service for highly technical conversations with colleagues at other government agencies, including sensitive military positions and powerful weapon systems relating to an ongoing conflict. That is according to emails that were reviewed by the Washington Post. Waltz has had less sensitive but potentially exploitable information sent to his Gmail, such as his schedule and other work documents.
I have no words, honestly.
The Trump administration is pushing back against the Washington Post report, and a spokesperson for the National Security Council saying that he has not seen Mike Waltz use his Gmail that way, adding, quote, Waltz didn't and wouldn't send classified information on an open account. That is not what the Washington Post reports. It's not the question or even the point.
Former iconic top officials are also weighing in.
Former acting assistant attorney general for national security at the Justice Department, now an MSNBC legal analyst, Mary McCord is here.
But Signal at least is end-to-end encrypted. It is certainly not an approved communications application for classified information, but it's more secure than Gmail. So it's pretty shocking to see. I recognize that there is pushback that anything classified was actually communicated on Gmail, but some of the things that you just described from that Washington Post story do sound very much like things that in my term in government would have been classified. And even if not classified national defense information, like the information that was in the signal chat, but even assuming nothing of that same level of sensitivity was on Gmail, it is not an approved communications platform for government employees doing official government business.
So this is a complete and total disaster. Even worse, this exposes a pattern of Donald Trump and his administration completely mishandling sensitive or even potentially classified pieces of information. It's even worse because this scandal now mirrors the exact accusations Trump and Waltz and members of his administration hurled at Hillary Clinton. Only this time, the threat is real, systemic, and is threatening national security in real time. To make matters worse, officials close to Trump admit the only reason Waltz still even has a job is because this story broke in the Washington Post rather than a conservative outlet. The Trump administration's mishandling of sensitive information is no longer just an isolated incident. It's an established, escalating pattern that puts the entire United States in danger.